Basangana kiebele koluka kosilisa yanga ibongo kasopesa kilingisa tete nakufa Basangana kiebele koluka kosilisa yanga ibongo kasopesa kilingisa tete nakufa.
Shabbat Shalom. Good morning, listeners. Welcome to a new episode of the Hour of Restoration, coming to you live from Amsterdam every Sabbath morning from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And of course, know that you can follow us live on our Facebook page, The Hour of Restoration, our YouTube channel, and also via High Radio.
Natongoli maboko na lobibo ye Yesu nazobondela yo yoka amina sembola loboko oh kolo Yesu pate na nzambe na yebete yo sali ozali na ngambo na ngai yo sali kolo Yesu.
This month's theme will be the last kingdom. Last week we concluded Egyptology and we looked at the worship of the ancestors. And today we will start with a brand new theme called the last kingdom. We will look at the changing of times, seasons, and names. We hope that you had a good week, so let us know in the comment section how you feel, how your day has been, how your week has been, and join us also for the usual table talk.
Tous ensemble,
in the table talk, we will recap Egyptology and then the worship of the ancestors. And afterward, we will dive into the word of wisdom with the preacher man, and he will speak about our new topic of this week.
Babosa nyeto zaponanga yoza sabaot yamona zomo nelayo yeso yo.
We will start with the show in a short 2 minutes. In the meanwhile, enjoy this song, Nazo Bondelayo by Michael Manya.
danser. Ribama. Tu peux danser, tu peux danser. On y va. Ah. Hey. Danse pour le roi des rois. C'est lui qui garde ta vie. C'est lui qui te protège. Est-ce qu'il mérite réellement tes danses? Tu peux pousser les cris de joie. Binana yo, binana.
Welcome. Once again, this is the Hour of Restoration, coming to you live from Amsterdam. As usual, we will start today with a table talk concerning Egyptology. And I have two people seated in front of me. Ladies first. So, sister, how are you doing?
I do.
Hey,
Yes.
you do. Welcome. Thank you. It's good to have you. And Brother Shalom,
I'm doing fine.
you are doing
Yeah.
fine as well.
Thank you.
How has your week been?
I'm a week off since Thursday, so relaxing, taking my time to reset.
Mhm.
So that's real fun. That's really
Okay,
nice.
that's good. And you have a full week off or a few days?
Full week
Oh, full
till
week.
next week. So
That's good. So you can recharge a little bit.
So
Okay. And Sister Stephanie, how has your week been?
My week was okay. Yeah, I managed,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that I'm here.
Good,
Yes.
good. Looking fresh and fruity. Why are you
Why are you
laughing? No, that is good to hear. I'm also doing fine. Busy week, but nothing
mellow.
out of the ordinary. So no, I'm glad to see you guys too in perfect health. So let's start with the table talk. Last week we concluded the theme of Egyptology. We spoke about the origin of Egyptology, and we then also looked at the worshiping of the ancestors. So just a general question, based on what you have heard the last couple of weeks, what is your understanding of Egyptology?
To me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stephanie, sorry.
my understanding is actually that it is important to more or less know about that subject because it has a direct link to our history,
Mm-hmm.
where the Hebrews also dwelt for a long time, and like where the influences comes from when it comes to idol worship, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me myself, I didn't know anything about it before, but now I realize that it all goes hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
And also it was highlighted in the teachings or in the preaching that it is helpful to study it, to see how like the Egyptians and the Hebrews were actually the same. You cannot even, there's not a lot of difference or not a big difference, but you cannot see it as a religion.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, when you just focus only on how they make certain images, how they use certain practices to exercise their faith, then
Mhm.
you're off.
Yeah.
So for me, I have to like revisit it again,
Mm-hmm.
to be honest,
Yeah.
because it's quite new for me.
Yeah. And it's also a very broad topic because you mentioned it has to do with our history as well. Could you explain that a little bit to us?
Yeah. I said that the Hebrews, the
Mhm.
Hebrew Israelites, they dwelt in Egypt. That Joseph, one of the sons of Jacob,
Mm-hmm.
he also lived there and he got a position. So, like by focusing on these stories, for instance, it helps you to bring certain context very clear.
Mm-hmm.
That for sure he also learned a lot of, idol worshipping things
Mm-hmm.
when he was in Egypt, when he was in the house of Pharaoh. and what it means for our salvation, because it's mentioned in different verses that they are also among those who can be saved, if I may say it like that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not in the right words, but that's how I understood it.
Okay, so that is the connection between what you have understood of Egyptology, and also how that links to our history as a people. And maybe it's me, but it seemed like Egyptology became popular, or maybe I only heard of it when everyone was into activism, being woke, being awakened, Pan-Africanism, waking up to their own identity. So Shalom, my next question is to you. Have you ever come in contact with groups that follow Egyptology? Were you someone that practiced it yourself?
I myself didn't practice it. I looked into it a lot. I think was in the year 2015. So there was a period I was like, all religions and faiths, they are similar. What is the main difference between the scriptures and all the others? So that's why I was also looking into that. And I know people who are in it, practicing it, even going truly and really going to their ancestors.
Oh wow!
Going to their to Africa, to their homeland, and and basically when you listen to the stories, it's also because the book is a white man book, and you're worshiping a white religion. You have to go back to your people.
Yeah,
we already had an religion before the white man came and enslaved us, and we already had traditions. I would say that, not a religion. And then the white man came and gave us religion. For population control. So man.
Yeah, so a lot of people do away with it because they just brand it as it's the white man's religion. The Bible is of the white man. And you said that in the beginning, you actually, I think you contrasted the different religions when you were looking at it. Yeah, and why was Egyptology not it for you?
Mostly based on their Normenwaarden, their values.
Yes.
And when you read scriptures, it gives you guideline in how to live, and it's basically their morals are based on holiness, righteousness, being a better person. So when you read where they are reading their sources, like the Book of the Dead, it's like even the name, the Book of the Dead, to tell you enough. And also when you look at how they go on about their spiritual journey, it's always, they would say that look to your inner self. You know yourself, the world within you. But you and I know that when you look in yourself, all that we see is darkness. Our heart is deceitful. So how do you know that you are doing the right thing, and that your path is truly? And of course you can be enlightened, because of course there are prophets, there are no one know their beginning. So there are moments and instances wherein, when you look truly yourself, you seek Elohim, or you seek really righteousness. Elohim can reveal it unto you. But it's playing with fire. Let me put it that way.
Okay, because there are a lot of people, a lot of black people that say, but Egypt is where it all started, right? For example, the 10 Commandments, they say they are based on the 42 laws of Ma'at. I don't know if you have ever heard of that. Those are laws of truth. And then if you would compare it to, for example, the 10 Commandments, then it is somewhat similar. So, how would you then explain that? Because is it true what they say? Did it all start in Egypt? Is that the origin of our faith as well?
There's a book which also talks about it, and basically, the beginnings, the creation of the world. When you talk about the fall of man, and also the Noah flood and all these things, all when you even look throughout all the world, they all have the same similar stories but different.
Yeah.
When you go to Asia, when you go to North Africa, Africa, and all these things. So, of course, there is a shared story from in the beginning because people migrated throughout the whole world. But that which makes Egypt so strong is that because their history still remains.
Yeah.
Ethiopia the same. And also the white man shows you what you want to see when you, because the whole Egyptology started with the Size Guys, the movie, and then all of a sudden everybody was into Egyptology and all these things. But there was an agenda to it. When you look to the creator of the movies, who they are, what they were doing, and what they are from, you would see that they are all satanic worshippers and so. So it's part of their agenda. To say that. Of course, there is history. Be proud of it, and I really like the teaching of us. Just be proud of it, look and study it, but don't worship it. But all the other nations, Egypt was more than what we see. Egypt was further of the what
very
we see.
Civilized.
But only what we see is Kemet, and then So eventually, you're still following the white man agenda.
exactly, because they're still the ones behind this idea of Egyptology.
So there's more than that.
No, that's true. That's a very good and clear explanation. And Stephanie, my question then to you is, why is this so popular amongst Black people? Why is it that when they find something related to Egypt, they just, yes, this is us, this is what we believe in? Why is it so popular, you think?
I think it's because they can identify themselves. If you dig very deep, everything for them, like if it is totally new to you and you dig deep into it and then you find all these pure answers in their side, then they will clinch onto it. And they don't know their borders, they don't know their limits. So it's like they have put themselves in a certain box. And they cannot even search further anymore. Maybe it will be good if they also study other religions and see what they can find in there, not to be converted into that religion, but just to compare certain things, put certain things or stories next to each other. And what I also see is that there are people also who are against white supremacy and seeing that the Christianity is of the white man. They realize or they have seen that all of the things that they have studied or discovered has been whitewashed. Then they prefer to take pride in that religion, or that's called Egyptology.
So I think it's also really that which you actually said, that part of being able to identify with others, and just finding something that is actually part of your history. It somewhat creates a feeling of being proud, a sense of self, a sense of identity representation. So
and I understand
I
them,
can understand.
Because,
They are right. If the books tell you that there's no history or history started at slavery, of course you're then you're enthusiastic when you look at the history of Egypt, because it's so rich, so broad, and you see people that actually look like you as well. So Stephanie, you said you spoke actually about the white man's religion. So my question to you, Shalom, then is, are they right? Is Christianity, the Bible, is it all part of the white man's religion? Is that argument right, wrong? Do you agree?
Christianity is from the right man, but the book not.
Explain.
For example, Christianity is basically the book combined with their traditions. With their, I will not even mention them pagans. It's just their traditions. It's white man traditions mingled with the book. So even when you go to Africa, they would also mingle their traditions with the book, and so basically, when you are in the search of seeking Elohim, you have to differentiate what is the tradition of the white man or man, and what is the ways of Yah. And then you would see a clear separation between these two. Like, for example, now we are in the Easter period. Everybody say, Easter. But with some research, you go to our restoration falsehood of Christianity, you can You can already identify, hey, Easter is this. Yeah. So Easter is this, but the book says this.
Yeah.
Because part of Easter is concerning the resurrection or the death. Then you can clearly, like the word would say, it's like it will cut you like a two-edged sword. So the religion itself, no jokes aside, the religion itself is
a white man's religion. So that part of what they argue or what they believe in, that is correct. And I think we have indeed, as you said, seen it in multiple of our previous shows, how we explained where Christianity came from, the origin and everything.
And that's why when an Egyptologist or someone who's against the book, when they started off the Christianity is white and that's why the word, I tuned off because I know that because your view is already incorrect. So whatever you say as a reason, I cannot accept it because that means you have a different view of the book of the Bible, and because of that you choose that, and then the discussion or the conversation becomes vague because we are not based already on the same ground concerning the book.
Yeah. And then I have a question. It's not necessarily then about this stuff, but what you mentioned, because I noticed that a lot of people, I've also had discussions and they say, how is it possible, for example, one book, so many interpretations, so many perspectives, so many mindsets, but it is all based on the same book. Where then does it go wrong, Stephanie?
You can even use the Bible itself as an example. You can look at the timeline from the old till the new. How it transitions from the old to the new. And then somewhere you see a gap. So for me, if I look at that, then maybe a question should pop up like, okay, which information, which event took place in that gap? Because you cannot find it in the Bible. And certain names that are found in the New Testament, certain events or miracles or stories, it's difficult to link it easily. You need the missing part. So having said that, seeing as Christianity as something totally new, I cannot see it that way because it comes from somewhere. Certain influences comes from the roots, from the Hebrew Israelites, who were like the first nation that Elohim dealt with. Of course, later on, different nations also followed and were created, but it's because they did not follow Elohim anymore. So all these stories from history back then, you can find in the Bible. You can use certain events also when you do your research via the internet. It is clear that certain facts shows that some influences from Africa, from the beginning, were like modernized, westernized, and then presented to us like this is something that we should follow. Yeah, this is the religion that we want you to do it, and there it goes, bit by bit, and you are into it, and then you don't look at where it all started.
Yeah, and I think that what is also important in what you said is that bit by bit you introduce it bit by bit, and also by mingling it, for example, with the cultures of other people or taking over their traditions, because as Shalom said, that is, for example, how Christianity also started, mingling of pagan holidays, religions with, for example, the Roman Catholic Church, and that is how people started to accept it. And I think that's still actually some of the issues that we see today. Some things are people can recognize it. Oh, okay, this is the same, this is what we do as well, and then they follow it. But you also have people that are like, no, we already had this, and now you come with completely something else. So no, thank you for your elaborate explanation. Last week, of course, we spoke about ancestral worship. And before we dive into the question, Shalom, what is ancestral worship?
No, seriously. Invoking
Just plain language.
No, basically your heritage, your people, they've passed away, and you know that their knowledge and their wisdom and their powers still exist somewhere here in this world, and basically you are seeking for those protection. You're seeking them for protection. That's how people would interpret it. But basically, yeah, it's basically the traditions which they have set up, the laws that they have put in place. You are still following them because you know that they were the one who put the foundations.
Okay. So that is also the value of ancestral worship, because my next question then is this something that we should do?
Ancestral, we have the worshipping of the ancestors is basically, you are truly putting them on a high pedestal. You are bowing unto them. And if there's something what we should do, no, because it is, that's why it's the same thing with playing with fire. You would not know what they do, how they lived, where they came from, what kind of people they are. It's really funny when we talk about something just popping in, because when we talk about ancestral worship, is they are not even worshiping their own ancestors, they are just worshiping someone else's ancestors.
But they don't know.
So what is not actually ancestral worship? So I just wanted to say that.
Wow. Okay, but then my next question then is, you said you don't even know what your ancestors did, but what if you do know what they did and it was maybe positive instead of negative? Can you then ask them for guidance, seek them? Does it only have to do with whether your ancestors were evil or good, or just the entire practice in itself is wrong?
Right. And when I look at the scriptures and Elohim and how it worked, in a way, you will always refer to someone, like the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Isaac, the Elohim of Jacob. Basically, you there is a foundation in such things. So you cannot say that you will never reference to your ancestors. But the main thing is that lack of information. It destroys people. So when when people are saying, I know who they were and what they did, come on, as I said, you even worship someone else's ancestors. We don't even know you don't even know your history. Your history ends at slavery. You are you did some YouTube research and something in this research, and then you claim that you know all of this. It's never be done. So that's why let us be realistic. Let us be realistic. And people can also say the same thing about the scriptures. For it is man-made, or what is white man-made, and all these things. But the same things still. Just do your diligent research, and you would see that it's not a white man book. So in a way, worshiping ancestors. No, we're worshiping the Elohim. Of the ancestors. So that's big.
Which ancestors?
Which ancestors?
Because now you're saying the same thing again. He said worshiping the Elohim of your ancestors, but who are your ancestors? Your own, like your own lineage, you mean, or of the Bible, or certain characters?
All scriptures.
Oh, okay.
Of jij pak van je eigen lineage?
No. I don't know them. So that's why I won't go there.
You don't know them?
No, not enough to like worship him, their gods, their Elohim. I don't know. No, I don't know anything about them.
And then like, sorry.
I've started a little bit. I'll ask my father first.
No, but Shalom, you touched upon very, very valid and good points. And you said something and about, of course, the scriptures and the forefathers, because some people would indeed say this is actually also ancestral worship, right? So
what do you mean with this?
When the scriptures speak about the forefathers, when they reference towards the forefathers and such things, people would say, oh, this is also a form of ancestral worship. What then is the main difference? Shalom actually already touched upon it a little bit, but Stephanie, my question then to you is, what is that difference? Is that what they do in scriptures also, ancestral worship? Or
I don't understand your question.
So in the scriptures, they also speak about the forefathers. They often reference to the forefathers as well. Other people might say that is also a form of ancestral worship.
Okay.
But my question then is, what then is the difference? Is it ancestral worship, what is happening in the scriptures, or not?
To me, it's not. There's a very big difference. You can acknowledge, and you can only acknowledge the one that you truly believe and is also in line with Elohim. So if, for instance, if it is mentioned in the Bible that I appreciate or I praise the Elohim of Abraham, Jacob, and Isaac, if it's been said that the person who says that understands truly and deeply everything about the relation between Elohim and Jacob and all the other persons I quote, and you walk in the same faith, in the same practices, no contradiction, like 100%, if I say it like this. So you can acknowledge only if you know that it's in line with Elohim. If you don't know anything about it, then you cannot dare say that. You cannot say that, I think.
So if you don't know anything about them, then you cannot reference. Then you cannot reference to them. Okay, but then my question then is, a lot of people, for example, say the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and when you read the scriptures, you see that there were covenants made with these three people. Yet everyone references them like that. Is it then appropriate for other people to also reference towards that, because they are not? Maybe they have not even made a covenant. Maybe they don't even really know. We just read from the scriptures, but when they invoke such things or they say such things, they know where it comes from. They have an agreement with Elohim standing. So is it then appropriate for other people to say the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob?
Because the same conversation I had with Anke, and then I think it was in Kanterschaf, and then we spoke about also about Egyptology, and people then referring to their ancient worships and so. And I said that, and then we spoke about it, and we said that it is funny that people who are, I'll start off from the Egyptologist people or the ancestral worship, that when they refer to their ancestors, right? And they're saying they are doing the research of the Kemet, and then they're living. What they're doing is basically mixing and mingling all religions. Then all of a sudden it's half Buddha, half Kemet. Then they call the name after an Yoruba name, but then they follow the moon practices of Ethiopia. And then I'm said, do you know how much confusion you bring to yourself as a person? And how do you know that your ancestors were truly practicing? Maybe they were even fighting, as in, because normally you had tribal wars, stuff, and then you are combining their ancient enemy with your. It's not making any sense. So it was also the same thing also with the scriptures. You cannot just think, I will mix and mingle all the other things, and then you'll be like, yeah, man, I'm worshiping the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Meanwhile, they have certain standards, certain laws, certain things in place. And of course, because that's why the scriptures always say that as a Gentile, you can also practice other or the practice the things of Israel. But basically, it is by their practices that you can really call upon their Elohim. So that's basically one of the big difference. So you cannot just call Abraham into the details. Call upon the Elohim and so. And the same thing also with the Egyptologists and the ancient worshippers and so. You're just mixing and mingling everything together, and you feel yourself enlightened. Maya. What is not enlightenment tegenwoordig? Jeff will say woke.
Wow. And Stephanie, do you have something to add to that?
No, he said it all.
She said it all. No contribution. No. Okay. Because I agree. I fully agree with what you say. It has to do with also the practices, the things that they, as I already said, the covenants, the promises, everything has to do with why you then can reference to this is the Elohim of Abraham, Jacob, and Isaac. Because I have the same thing, for example, when people call upon Elohim, maybe in prayer, for example, oh, you are my healer, oh, you are a provider, certain things. And I, for example, see a very big difference between people that have gone through things and then say it, than people that just say it for saying sakes. For example,
What's the difference?
and what I mean is, for example, I can say, yes, Elohim, you are my healer. And of course, it's an attribute of him. But I think that the weight of someone who maybe has been sick, has been healed, and then says, Elohim, you are my healer, is a completely different weight that is hanging on that. And I think it's, for me then, it's exactly the same with referencing towards the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They're different weights based on also a bit your perspective and especially your relationship that you then have with Elohim. I don't know if you guys agree or want to.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
I agree with you. Because mostly it's also a journey for someone. You might not know Elohim to its fullness.
Yeah.
In order to say that I will truly, but yeah, as long as you seek his kingdom, then you talk. Then just do your diligent work. And we have not done it at all until now. But so who are we to call upon them? But basically, that process. Really, I would say trust the process, and then
trust the process. Speaking about kingdoms, this week we start with a brand new theme called The Last Kingdom, and today we're going to look at the changing of times, names, seasons. And before I have a next question about that, what is the last kingdom, Stephanie? What does it refer to?
Simply said, the last kingdom is the new kingdom that we will, or we hopefully we will experience. I don't know, but that is our aim. It's not the current time or season that we are in right now, but it is like a transition from what we are seeing now until something that which will come new on the earth.
Okay, so it is the new kingdom that we are all awaiting for, hopefully, to enter. And Shalom.
Maranatha.
And Shalom, why is it actually important? Because we're going to dive into changing of seasons, times, names. Some might say it's just names, it's just seasons. Why is it important to know what they did to these, to these things? Times, seasons, names.
Basically, I think we don't want to be asleep. Thessalonians also really said beautiful that when you're asleep you would never know. All of a sudden everything comes as a shock. You'll be like, what happened? What are we doing? Where are we aiming? How's life looks like? Oh, Elohim is coming. Then it will come just like a thief in the night. But when you research, you take your time, the happenings, the changings, I think it can really enlighten you and also put you in perspective where you are in now. Because there's been, I really expect a lot from the word of wisdom, because a lot has been changed. A lot has been done. Even maybe some of the things that we changed is even related to gods also. So times and seasons. Man. I'm really curious if it's now truly 10:39.
Ish, what time? What time is it?
I don't know. Changing of times and seasons.
No, I have the same excitement as you guys. I mean, like, there's so many prophecies also in scriptures. If you cannot discern what time you're in, what season and everything, how then will you be able to see the prophecies truly
and prepare
unfold
yourself
and indeed prepare us? Are you ready?
Ask yourself.
I'm not ready, but are you ready? No.
We're trying. You're doing your best.
Oh, I'm trying, but I'm not ready. If everything happens today.
It's none of the bank.
I don't even have a car. No. So thank you guys. Thank you both for this interesting. I really enjoyed the table talk. I hope you guys as well.
Yes.
We are going to dive into the word of wisdom, and then the preacher man will speak more, elaborate more on this interesting topic. So I didn't see any comments. I didn't see any questions. So know that you can do this also in the next segment. Even if you have questions about what we just discussed, know that you can also still place them in the comment section. We will be back with you in a few minutes. In the meanwhile, enjoy this song by Campus Rush.
Holy Spirit, all we want is to know you, Sing, oh, oh, would you stretch your hands and just sing it to Jesus?
If you just tuned in, know that we are discussing our brand new theme. This is The Last Kingdom, and the topic is the changing of names, times, and seasons. So stay tuned.
However you want to, blow through the room. This is our earnest cry. However you want to, blow through the room. You can have your way. That's available. Blow through the. Would you blow through the room? Would you blow through the room? Would you blow through the room? Would you blow through the Sing out on the Holy Spirit. Like a rushing wind, like a wave of fire. you want to, however you want to, like a rushing wind, like a wave of fire, however you want to, however you want to come, like a rushing wind, like a wave of fire.
And we are back again. They like the table talk so much they didn't want to go away. So we're starting our conversation about the topic of this week. As we said, it's the last kingdom, the kingdom that we are all awaiting. And we're going to discuss the changing of times, names, and seasons. I have Shalom once again in front of me. He liked it too much, so he wanted to join us again. And then I have my brother Randy. Randy, before we start, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's good to be alive, and it's good to be here.
Good to hear. So yeah, the topic, changing of names, times, and seasons. Are you aware, Randy, that things have been changed for the sake of, I don't know what type of agenda, but
I am aware of certain changes in times, and the one that is most evident to me is the one about the Sabbath day. Like for example, even when I go out to work, and then the Sabbath is from Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, right? And then exactly that time is the time when all these people get from work, they go to party and do all their crazy stuff. So I think like they change it, the Sabbath, and to Sunday and all those kinds of things. All this exactly change it to the times to do their crazy things. So that's one of the things that is evident to me about changing of times.
And what then, you said crazy things, Shalom, what are those crazy things? What is their hidden agenda? Who is they?
They.
They?
My goodness. No, they. That's what we're going to talk about. Basically, when we talk about the kingdom which are ruling right now. Maybe I'm ahead of this teaching, but basically, before the last, the ultimate, the really, really last kingdom, as in the kingdom of Yah, there's a prophecy already in the scriptures, and then it says that there will be a nation or a kingdom who will do all these things. And it's important: are we in the period? Yes or no? Yeah, indeed. Who? The question is indeed, who are they? That I'm also asking myself, who are they? I really want to know who they are. Man.
Yeah, before we dive into Illuminati type of things,
Illuminati.
That is a topic on its own. I don't know whether they're ever going to talk about Illuminati. Illuminati. Yeah. But what you also see is that there's so many assemblies also. For example, also Hebrew Israelites that they do follow a Hebrew calendar, but still some of them are not the same. It's not consistent. So Randy, why do you think that there's a difference, though they are all claiming to be Hebrew Israelites? What?
Yeah, it depends on what they follow, because I had a question about someone a week ago. Like one of the brothers, he was following like the calendar according to the moon, and then he then came with a claim like the Sabbath isn't always on Saturday based on the moon, because the moon cycles go different times, and sometimes it's not always the same as the last month. So sometimes the Sabbath doesn't fall on a Saturday. He came with all kinds of claims, but that I thought like, hey, okay. But then I also put it in a group, and then one of the brothers explained to me how it works. But that's one of the reasons why I think that between Hebrew groups there's also some discord about what is what, because some follow it according to the moon, some follow it according to the calendars that we now have that date back to what it was. So it's just different kinds of views. Yes.
Okay, but there is one right answer. One of the groups is wrong.
Exactly.
Obviously.
But because when you trace it back, then there's something to be found, and then it's to you to go search it out.
Wow, to you, eh?
Yeah,
to you at home. What do you follow?
Yeah, exactly.
My
Yeah.
question,
Oh,
yeah,
what
it's a
do
question to you. Yeah, you were sitting there. What do you
what do I follow? Yeah, I just follow the what is known to me,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the Sabbath day as we know it now.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you link it back to the how do you say, the Gregorian,
Gregorian calendar.
and
Mhm.
then you see that there's one day that is also found in many languages that is recorded as the Sabbath day. And when according to the Sabbath day, you see that that Elohim said it's from sundown to, how do you say this, sundown to sundown, that's a
Mhm.
day.
Yeah.
And then when you trace it back, you see it's linked to the Saturday and not based on the moon, because when you follow the moon, that's always on another day.
Yeah.
So what I follow is that it's the Saturday.
It's just
That's
Saturday.
the brief answer that I can give now, because
Okay.
it's a whole study on itself,
Exactly.
and we don't have much time.
Yes. Very elaborate. Okay, and then Shalom, what are some of the feast days, right, that we do celebrate now, but we should maybe celebrate other feast days? So for contrast and compare the Hebrew and the Gregorian calendar.
Gregorian calendar. Oh, even in that. Let's say even Easter is one
Mhm.
of them.
Ishtar.
Or Passover. Let me put it this way:
Mhm.
Passover. It's really funny because when you even go to their, it's not even the information not even that far away. You just go to Wikipedia, you type in Easter, and then you go to the section date.
Mm-hmm.
They even have they literally said that we of at some time, maybe around the year 300, they made a law that they would use intentionally a different date
Mm-hmm.
for the Passover
Mm.
than what is known in what the scriptures are
Mhm.
using than what we are doing. It's
Why?
all it's not, the information not even that far. You asking me?
Yeah, why?
It's a question for the for the
Preacher
next
man.
one. Ask him why.
Yeah.
So it's so they know it. They
Mhm.
know it. So basically, that these kingdoms, they just want their own gods and their own power to be highlighted.
Mhm.
And now also, for example, we all know like Christmas. It's really funny because people know that's not the day the Messiah
Was born.
but
Mhm.
still they insist that we have to celebrate it on that day.
Mhm.
Where does that come from? But when you look at all the scriptures,
Mhm.
there were also other feast days, and no one ever followed it, because if you would follow the Gregorian calendar to follow the feast days of Elohim, you are off.
Yeah.
So
I think we are
it's-
all off.
I have a question.
To be honest. Yeah. Yeah.
What impact does it have on mankind with all these changes in the times? Like for you on your daily life, what impact does it have on you?
I noticed for me it was always a switch. I literally changed my calendar of my phone to say that Saturday is the first day. That Saturday is the last day to start. From Sunday is the first day and Saturday is
Oh,
the
you
first
can
day.
do that on
Yeah.
your phone? Okay.
iPhone, yeah.
Yeah, I did it
Mm,
also.
that was-
Yeah.
yeah. Sure.
It was for me a switch, and then I realized, hey, whoa, if you really want to do it according to the ways of Elohim, it just takes so much effort. Like when you're reading the Messiah's name, you say Elohim, or the word you see God, but you want to replace it.
Yeah.
It takes that much effort to realize that no. Monday is not the first day. Sunday is the first day.
Yeah.
So that's that's one of the things.
So
And
you really have to train yourself in a new way, because you have been taught all these years something else.
Mm-hmm.
So it really takes effort.
It really takes time. And I think also when it comes to the name, for example, I remember then sometimes reading my Bible or the scriptures, and then you see the name standing, but then I would hesitate what to say. Jesus, Yeshua.
Or sometimes when you switch, then you see Lord, then you say Yahuwah or Elohim.
Exactly. I'm like, don't know what to say. But what I do like when I studied this or when I read about this, that you also get that confirmation for yourself. I don't know if you also got maybe the confirmation. I said conversation. Wow. Confirmation for yourself. I remember you know African parents, right? So
Okay.
when you maybe dream certain things or you see
Uh-oh.
certain stuff that you have to say Jesus, Jesus,
say
if something is
Jesus.
happening. And I remember once that it happened and I said Jesus, Jesus, Jesus as I was taught, but it didn't do anything. And for me, and it was when I just converted or I was just beginning my walk with Elohim, it didn't do anything anymore until I said Yeshua or Yahushua. Then something happened, and that for me was I woke up and I was like, okay, something has changed. That there's no power anymore in what we know as Jesus or what I know as Jesus, and instead I should go and follow, go on and call Yeshua as name.
Was that a dream or something?
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that?
yeah,
And then
yeah.
a nightmare, and then you bind it. on the
No, no binding, no binding, no
Okay,
binding.
because I used to have certain dreams also, and we also had a study about
Yeah.
dreams, and I came to the understanding like it doesn't mean what
Mhm.
you think you mean, it means
Yeah,
something
yeah, yeah, yeah,
else.
yeah, yeah.
So then I started to put it out of my head, like
Mhm.
saying a name that it may be linked to that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
No,
yeah.
but that's why I said it was in the beginning of my walk. Sometimes what I do believe is sometimes, maybe you get an understanding or a certain confirmation, but it's to your level of your understanding.
Yeah.
If maybe I would not understand it if it was shown or confirmed to me in another way, for
Yeah,
example, right?
Exactly.
But this for me was clear.
yeah,
So that could be different for each and every person.
yeah.
So yeah, Shalom, you mentioned a few feast days, but are there certain Hebrew feast days that you do celebrate
Celebrate is a big word. I would rather
or
observe.
remember?
Yeah,
Observe.
I would rather observe them. And
What's the difference between celebrating and observing?
to celebrate, then you're literally doing what they are doing, as in
What do you mean with doing?
I think in the context what you meant, I
Mhm.
think what in the context what you meant is then basically practicing the practices that are linked to that feast days. For example, like when you're heel flauw, but even in these days when you are celebrating Easter, you have to go to church, for example, or when you're doing celebrating Valentine, you have to give someone that gift. You know, there's just certain customs
That's a
attached to
practice.
that. There's certain custom attached to it. And yeah, and concerning the scriptures, it's a sensitive and I think a tough topic, because many of the things we cannot do it because would you slaughter, and can you slaughter?
Yeah, and then in
Any
Jerusalem, in a
animal.
certain place,
Is
you
there
have
a
to do it.
temple? Exactly.
So that's what practices. Then how do you observe it? Then what is observing?
How remember you take your
Mhm.
time. For example, I study about the topic. Like for instance, the Passover was
Mhm.
what day was it?
According
week
to the
Friday?
Gregorian
No, no,
calendar.
no, no.
According to the times that it's changed.
No. Yeah, then you would study, reread it again. How was it? The importance of it. Meditate. So such things. But I will not celebrate it as, hey, Rennie, kom, we gaan even koek. We gaan even een kalf.
Yeah, slachten.
Of zo.
Do you know how to slaughter?
Ik weet niet. I don't even chop chicken at home, man.
Or it's just remembering
Ah.
it and standing still and thinking about it, and then you move on.
Yeah, man. So yeah, and that's really one of the things. One of the things.
Is there
it's
none of
different.
the feasts that you do celebrate as it can also happen in the place where you are?
Of course, then I would, to my understanding, then we also do the Day of Atonement. That's
Mhm.
also one of the things. Beside that, no, not much. And you?
No, I think the Day of Atonement, as you said, and also, yeah, I think the days before the countdown, I would call it's like the Feast of Trumpets, when that is before, and then I just take these times to reflect and yeah, think about my life, reflect upon it, and then indeed the Day of Atonement. But I have to say, the other feast day, yes, I know about it, but I don't necessarily celebrate them or observe them, except then the Sabbath, for example. That is just standard.
It's common.
is common.
Oh.
It's weekly. I mean, yeah, it's not common, but it's weekly. It's weekly.
Common, rare.
So, yeah, Randy. Then my last question is also, what do you hope to learn
About
today's topic?
I hope the what is the topic again? Is the
Changing of times,
and-
seasons, and names.
or names. Yeah, what I hope to learn is because I really want to learn about let's for example they talk about the 400 years in captivity, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Israelites. And I also saw a study that it was about yeah, they're in captivity and the timeline and those kinds of things. So I hope he will elaborate on those kinds of things.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you guys for the interesting introduction to the topic. Thank you for sharing your ideas, also telling the listeners what you observe.
Yeah.
And what you do not observe. It's a trailer to what we're about to hear of the preacher man itself. So once again, thank you very much. This was our Table Talk Part 2, and now we will move on to the Word of Wisdom. But before we do so, enjoy this small song.
Salangana yepa bapuse mutema na yo lobanga na yo kae mabanso ya molimo na yo bongo ngala kokisa papa bapuse mutema na yo bongo ngala loba maloba maeko simba yo lobanga na yo kae mabanso ya molimo na yo simangana ngana nanguya ya loboko na yo bongo na miso papa mabolongo na se na sanjola na mitika yawe liboso na yo ozanzambe na bolingo obongi na lokumu yawe lokumu eza yo Sanjola ya na lolengo lingyo imoni sana kamwe kembo ya elongi na yo simbangana lenga na nguya ya loboko na yo bongo ngala loba maloba na mayo na moni na yo bongo ngala sanjola ya monele na yo osansambe na bolingo
Yes. So shalom unto all our viewers and listeners. We apologize for the delay. We apologize for the delay. So we welcome all of you to today's portion of the words of wisdom. We thank the Almighty for yet another day that He has appointed unto us to be able to be alive in this day and age is not a small feat. To be able to be alive and to have your brains working is mercy which is coming from Elohim. To be able to be alive and to be surrounded by your loved ones is a mercy coming from Elohim. Elohim has kept us for so many years, and He's keeping on keeping us. Though the prices are skyrocketing and life is becoming more expensive with the day, Elohim is showing unto us that He is not man. For the most expensive commodity that one person can have is his breath, which is translated into spirit. Nevertheless, Elohim has not even for a day charged us for the breath of life. You can inhale and exhale freely. And up until now, the government has not yet found a way to monetize oxygen. But maybe one day they will find a way to do it. But until that day, and even if that happens, we will always thank Elohim for the fact that He has kept us. He is sustaining us. He's revealing so many things unto us, and He's bringing into our remembrance that the time is being sped and the days are drawing nearer. And before He comes, we first must hit a climax of insanity, which the world has never seen nor heard before. So we are patiently waiting, and we are anxious, and we are calling unto Him every day that He may keep us safe, that He may keep us sound, that He may keep us strong-spirited, that He may teach us how to restrain ourselves and exercise patience and self-control. For the deception is too much, and it will keep on increasing. So Elohim warned us and said, behold how in the last days, He said, I will pour out of my Elimo, I will pour out of my spirit. And He said, I will pour it upon the young ones, because they will grow, and the things that they will see, if it is not by the intervention of my spirit, then falsehood will take over the land, and no one will be able to know nor understand the mysteries. He said, then I will reveal it unto children, and they will prophesy, meaning they will be able to take the written letters, which it seems nowadays has been sealed from the ecclesiastical gatherings. And a child will be able to look at it, study it, and come to conclusions which will baffle the old ones. And the old ones, most of them, as it was in the days of, Musa, many of the old ones, unfortunately, will not be able to take on this truth, because they will love their lives too much, and they will look at the penalty of the truth, and they will tell themselves, if this is true, then we will have to change our whole life and our whole belief system. And then they will look at themselves, their families, their loved ones, and their so-called reputations, and then they will say, no, the course we have set is the course we have set. But only those who are somewhat young, who have not yet attached themselves to their reputation and falsehood, and what will my father say, and what will my friends say, and what will my mother say, and what will my wife say, only those that are detached enough will be found to be light enough to move when Elohim says move. Because the truth be told, the speed that we are heading, what we call the truth today may become a lie by tomorrow. What we thought we knew yesterday, today may already become irrelevant. That is the speed with which Elohim is revealing things now, and it is the speed with which this world is now moving. So we thank this Elohim for today and for the topic which has been planned for us to deal with, which is the last kingdom, a changing of times, seasons, and names. So I was thinking on this topic and stuff, trying to prepare. When it comes to the changing of times, nothing was clicking because we spoke about that for so long and so often. And I don't have the patience to deal with that today. I was thinking about the changing of seasons, what you guys call holidays. It was not clicking. If you are 21 years and you still celebrate Christmas and you go to church and say that Christmas is the day that your Savior died, then I have nothing to say to argue with you. Because indeed, Christmas is the day that Jesus died. And there is no argument there from me. If you are 21, you are clapping your hands in church and saying it is Palm Sunday. You are saying it is Easter, and you are saying it is Palm Sunday, and you are clapping your hands in church, and you are saying it's the day that Jesus resurrected. And there is no argument from me. You are right. Jesus is the one they celebrate in December. Jesus is the one they celebrate when they say the Palm Sunday. All these things, Jesus, the Sun God, Apollo, Sol Invictus, all of them, those are their holidays. But Jesus is not the savior of the Hebrew king and people. The Hebrews do not know Jesus. The name Jesus, the stories about Jesus, his feast days, is not to be found in the scripture. The scripture speaks of someone else. And the scripture warned us and said, "Behold, I have come in my name, but you would not like me. But when another will come
in his own name,
so he's saying, when this other one will come, he will come in his own name.
him ye will receive."
Him ye, the world, will receive. That is why they celebrate Palm, what's it called? So, and this is what I learned from my father. He has stopped arguing with people, and so have I. There is no argument here. There is no arguing here. We have simply come to tell you what we have discovered with proof at hand. And to each his own. If you are 21, living in Europe, you have access to the internet, to information, and you can still believe in stories about a Palm Sunday, the resurrection of your Jesus. You can still believe in Christmas, the day that Jesus. If you can still adhere to these things, then there is nothing I can say to you. Because it is impossible this day and age to still believe those things. Somewhere down the line, you must have heard someone speaking about the falsehood of Christmas, the falsehood of these, what they call Easter and stuff. And you said, nah man, ik geloof het niet. And then you went your way. Because it makes no sense this day and age for you to not have heard it before. So if you've heard it, you was not pricked. And maybe it was not for you.
Mm-hmm.
That is why today, the only thing that is ringing is I have to speak about the changing of the names. Because all these other stuff, you guys have heard it before. Brother, sister, you are not stupid. The seven angel already sounded. The mysteries already. What secret is there anymore? What secret is there anymore? Ever since the internet came, it messed up their, I won't say it messed up their agenda, but Elohim used that which was meant for evil for good. Now we have access to data banks, which was not meant for the common folks. It was meant for the kings at that time and age. We have now maps and cartographers, which were the special envoys of the kings. And they were sent to map out the world. And lo and behold, oh goodness. And lo and behold, what they found. And now, as we say in Lingala, sakara nango. So now you can just sit at home and you have access to hidden things which were meant for kings. But what do? We don't research. You are upset because Netflix raised their prices with €2. So now it's, I think, not. So you are upset. You are upset because the supermarket, they raised sunflower oil. So you are going crazy. So today, dear people, sorry, I will not really deal with holiday. How is it possible? You are clapping Palm Sunday, whatever they call it. But the Messiah said to you, ye unbelievers and adulterous generation, no other sign will I give you but the sign of Jonah.
For as Jonas was 3 days and
For
3
as
nights,
Jonas was 3 days and 3 nights,
in Matthew 12 verse 40,
Uh-huh.
for as Jonas was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth.
so people, you say you are celebrating at church, you are so smiling, you are dancing, and you say that your Savior arose on Palm Sunday, and you say that he died on Friday. And we know that a day has 24 hours. So if you would start to count from Friday to Saturday, how many days are that?
One night.
That is one night, or 124-hour cycle. That will be one day. And then you count from that Saturday to Sunday. How many days are that?
2 days.
Those are 2 days. So if you are then celebrating that he resurrected on the Sunday, that means that he lied.
For as Jonas was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days.
So how is it possible that you guys are doing this? How is it possible that you guys are doing this? And many of you, to be honest, I have no hope for old people. So I rarely address my messages to old people. Old people, respect. So I'm especially speaking to the younger ones. You have time. You can study. You can research. Apply a little sense. Don't let them fool you because they are old. No. Respect them. But don't take what they say for granted. Study it. Investigate. You yourself know many of them can't even read. Many of them can't even read. You know how your mother reads the Bible in the church. When the pastor says, "Who wants to read out loud?" And then you see your own mother, she gets up, "I want to read." Then she takes the Bible. She doesn't speak French, but she's forcing herself to read a French Bible in the church. And then when she starts reading, so you, and what amazes me is, it seems as if the shepherds have lost love for their sheep. The pastor knows this woman cannot read French. He lets her get up and she starts reading. And there is no spirit inside of that pastor saying, advise that woman to please take a Bible of her own native tongue and let her read it, because the way she's reading, it's evident that she doesn't understand what she's reading. So you, a pastor, you have been pastoring someone in your church that cannot read French, but every Sunday she comes to church, she reads a French Bible, and you claim that you have now a believer. You have preached the doctrine to her and she understands it, and now she will go to heaven. Do you take your job seriously? Do you take your job seriously as a shepherd? And you, mama or papa, you have these Ghanaian fathers, then they go to the church and they have to read. They have this English Bible, King James, and then they start reading and ik weet het niet eens. The stuff they will say, how they will you're like, this man cannot read. This man doesn't understand English. But he's forcing himself to read an English Bible. So how can we even speak doctrine to you people? That's why I said, old people, with all due respect, get out somewhere. I'm addressing the younger ones. Don't make a fool of yourself. I will not sit there and be entertained and let some old folk read a Bible in French and the French is not matching up. And sometimes it's not even the members in the church that are doing it. Sometimes you know your own pastor preaches from a French Bible, but he doesn't speak French. And you will waste your time and go and sit there. And then when we come to you and we tell you something, you dare come with a crazy argument that makes no sense. But last Sunday you went to the church, you had on your nice suit, and you were celebrating Palm Sunday. But what did this man say?
Just as Jonas was in the whale's belly for 3 days and 3 nights.
Friday, Saturday, 1 day. Saturday, Sunday, 2 days. So where is day number 3? So how can we take you seriously, young man? If this is your life, you are a joke. You are ridiculing yourself. Don't do this. Don't do this. But this is your life now. All you care about is, I have to look nice, I have to make money. Hey, crypto. Are you mad? But if you then take the prophetic books, was it Daniel? I didn't even want to talk about the holidays, but is it Daniel? You will cut the covenant with many and in the midst of the week.
Daniel chapter
9:27. Okay, yeah.
Verse 20 and 7.
So listen at the accurate day that he died and arose, based upon scripture, not based upon someone telling you stories.
Daniel chapter 9 from verse 27.
Go ahead.
And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week.
So this is the angel speaking about the time of conciliation that the Messiah will bring to the people of Israel. And he said, and he
shall confirm the covenant.
He will confirm the covenant
with many
by reason of his shedding of his blood. Because the Bible says the testament is of no effect as long as the testator lives. But as soon as the testator dies, then the covenant will be of effect.
Yes.
So he will confirm the covenant with many
for 1 week.
For 1 week.
And in the midst of the
week.
And
in the midst of the
week, he shall cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease.
He then will cease the sacrificial offerings
and the oblation
to cease. So what is the midst of the week? What you have to understand is the Hebrew calendar, as Shalom was rightly saying, these people here told you that the day starts at Monday and it ends at what? Sunday, which is a lie. Which is a lie. The last day of the week is the Sabbath evening. When the evening comes, the Sabbath ends, then we enter into the new week, which is always on a Sunday. So then if you take the last day of the week being the Sabbath evening and you begin to count back 3 days, what will you get? Saturday evening to Friday evening is 1. Friday evening to Thursday evening is 2. Thursday evening to Wednesday evening is 3. The Messiah died on a Wednesday
in the
midst of the week, which is Wednesday.
Yeah.
So then you will have 3 days before that and 3 days after that. And in the midst of that day, which is Wednesday, that is when he died. And it confirms, because the Bible then says, know ye not that the Messiah is the master of the Sabbath. And then when you go to the book of Mark and Matthew and all of them books, you will see, and it was heading towards the first day of the week.
Yeah.
When the people came, they saw Mary of Magdalene and they said, where is the Messiah? And then she told them, we went there, but he was not there.
Matthew 28,
He did
verse
not
1.
awake on the Sunday. He awoke on a Sabbath.
In Matthew 28 verse 1.
Go ahead.
And in the end of the Sabbath.
And in the end of the
Sabbath. As it began to dawn towards the first day of the week.
It was in the twilight.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn towards the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre. And behold, there was a great earthquake, for the angel of Elohim descended from heaven and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat on it. And jumping to verse 5.
So no. Let them study themselves. I'm talking to young people. You guys have energy and time. So I'll just leave. We have to try to copy the angels, the way they work. None of them will come to you and will sit with you and drink tea with you and then take the whole Bible. No. Usually when they come, maybe it can be a visitation of 3 seconds. They just drop something and they go, and it is up to you. The Bible says, study and show yourself approved. So we are dropping morsels here and there. Do your own investigation, please. There's the reason why, as a religion and we as a people, we are dying. We are intellectually lazy. No one wants to do the research. So he died at the midst of the week and arose on the Sabbath. So that whole story you guys are telling yourself, jumping in the church, it is based on emotions alone. And unfortunately, Elohim does not deal with emotions. He said, ye shall know the truth. Not you will feel emotions. You will know the truth. And it is by knowing that truth and believing that truth, then you will become free. But because of time, let's jump. Yeah? Because we have to start. Guys, so we will especially focus and look at the changing of names, because all the other stuff you already dealt with. But it is unfortunate. But let's look at something. I will have to jump up and down, unfortunately. Job 9:24.
Job chapter 9, starting from verse 20 and 4.
This has become my favorite verse, unfortunately.
The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
Listen, this earth is now in the hands of the wicked.
He covers the faces of the judges thereof.
He covered the faces of the
judges thereof.
Who are the wicked? Give me the book of, is it Zechariah?
11?
It shall be called the border of wickedness. Which is that? Is it Zechariah or Malachi?
Is it Malachi?
Malachi 1:4.
Malachi chapter 1 from verse 4.
Who is he speaking to?
Whereas Edom said,
We are
impoverished,
but
we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts.
Go ahead.
They shall build, but I will throw down. And they shall call them.
They will call them
the border of wickedness.
Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hands of the
wicked, and he covers the faces of the judges.
This he is Edom. This he is Gog. This he is Magog. This he is Europe. This he is the Netherlands, Germany, France, UK, Japan, the house of Saud, Russia, Prussia, however you want to call these people, Ukraine, Poland, America. These are the people. These are the fourth kingdom. We already addressed this long time ago, so no need to rehearse, but it's just, these are the people. The earth is given into their hands. And what does he do as a consequence?
He covers the faces of the judges
and
thereof.
He has covered the faces of the judges thereof. What does it mean to cover the face of the judges? He has the judges in their pocket. That is why up until today, sometimes we wonder, why is it that we still pay reformations to Israel, billions of dollars a year, but Africa doesn't get anything? Because the world is given into the hands of the wicked, and he covered the face of the judges thereof. Don't think that Edom gets $1 billion a year. Edom pays himself. Don't you? He owns the bank, so he's paying himself. Of course, Africa will not get anything. So he covered the face of the judges thereof.
If not,
Where
and who is he?
That is the question. That is the question. And what has this snake done now that he has the control over the world? Yeah? What he did was the following. Psalms 83 from verse 3.
Psalms chapter 80 and 3, starting from verse 3.
They said,
They have taken crafty counsel
this day are the wicked ones. They took crafty counsel
against thy people,
against thine
people,
Mhm.
and consulted against thine hidden ones.
and they consulted against those that you have hid.
They have said,
And they said,
Come,
come,
and let us cut them off from being a nation.
let us cut them off from being a
nation,
Uh-huh.
that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
How would you interpret this verse? If you look at the world today, is Israel in remembrance? You are shaking no.
That one.
But Israel
Mm-hmm.
is in remembrance.
Mm.
So is the scripture lying, or did something happen? If you type in Israel today, you will see a nation, you will see a people. So this verse then is strange. But if you study the word carefully, the book of Revelation 2, is it 9?
Revelation chapter 2 from verse 9.
Go ahead.
I know thy works
Listen, he's saying, I know your works,
and tribulation,
my people, and I know your suffering,
and poverty,
and I know that you are impoverished.
but thou art rich.
Despite the fact that you are impoverished, it makes no sense. Because if you look at the land, if you look at the continent you are living, it makes no sense. This poverty of yours is a state of mind because you are rich.
And I know the blasphemy
And I know the unforgivable sin
of them which say they are Jews.
of them who what?
They say they are Jews,
But,
and are not,
but,
are the synagogue of Satan.
now go back to Psalms. Because the Bible is showing us a problem here. That David the prophet cried, and not only he, Moses cried, all of the ancient prophets cried, Jeremiah cried, and all of them cried because they saw a future where Israel would be desolate. But if we take these prophecies and we put them into proper context in our day and age, Israel is not desolate. Speaking of the Israel that we are seeing on TV, they have money. Go to Belgium, all the diamond shops are theirs.
Mm-hmm.
They have nuclear weapons. What does Israel not have? The Israel that we are seeing today are not desolate. But the prophecy said Israel would be desolate. And then you read on in Revelation, it says, I know the lie, the blasphemy of them who say
They are Jews,
but
are not,
but are.
the synagogue of Satan.
So then we have a problem. What is the problem there? The problem then is they, Edom, took crafty counsel
against thy people,
Edom, which is Rome, which is the fourth kingdom, as spoken of by Daniel and Revelation. The kingdom that can say you are allowed to buy and you are not allowed to buy. We are seeing it evidently with our own eyes. Look at what is happening to Russia. Look at what is happening to Iran. Every nation that opposes Western philosophy, what happens to you? You get sanctioned.
Mm-hmm.
There is no nation in the world, there is no power in the world that can do this except the Western world.
Yeah.
We are telling you, this is Edom. This is Edom. And what Edom did was, Edom has been lying to us. The Western world, Europe, has been America, they have been lying to us from ages up until today. Up until today, they have been lying to us. And what is the biggest sin they committed? They hijacked the identity of the people, and also they removed all the ancient landmarks. They removed all the ancient names that bear the evidence of the presence of the people of the book. But Elohim, being so good, he did not leave himself without a witness. So let me just give you guys something so you can think and ponder and relax and be bewildered. Zephaniah. Beyond the
Zephaniah chapter 3,
verse,
starting from verse 10.
and it says,
From beyond the rivers of Ethiopia,
from beyond the rivers of,
Ethiopia,
there are only two nations in the whole continent of Africa that have never been colonized. That have never been colonized. Ethiopia and, what's it called? Liberia. These two nations have never been colonized by the Western world. And because of that, luckily for us, we still know where Ethiopia is. And the Bible is saying, from beyond the rivers
of Ethiopia,
there,
my suppliants,
Uh-huh.
even the daughter of my dispersed,
will.
shall bring my offering.
Okay. But what have they done when it comes to the displacing of names? What they did was, first of all, they came up with the lie of a place in the world which is called the Middle East. Which is called the Middle East. Now look up the entry of Middle East, I think, and just tell me what the Middle East consists of. And you will hear the names and the countries that they are calling. Middle East.
So the countries of the Middle East,
Uh-huh.
these are Bahrain,
Listen, uh-huh.
Cyprus, Egypt, Iran,
Mm-hmm.
Iraq, Israel, Jordan, Kuwait, Lebanon.
You can stop. Repeat that.
So the first one they mention is Bahrain.
So this is the Middle East.
Mhm.
When did the Middle East come to be?
Do you want to?
If you just go to,
Mhm.
just go to
The term Middle East
listen,
was first started being used in the 1900s.
was first being used in the 1900s.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
That's what they say, and it started in the United Kingdom.
It's-
That's where they started to use it.
Uh-huh.
Let me
And
find another
it's
entry.
funny how it was not something that was in actuality in the 1800s, but the 1900s. Why? Because they had to propagate a lie about a nation of Israel being formed in 1948.
So there's another entry here.
Go ahead.
It says the term Middle East
Uh-huh.
may have originated in the 1850s
Uh-huh.
in the British India Office.
Go ahead.
However, it became more widely known
Mhm.
when American naval strategist Alfred Mahan
Mhm.
used the term in 1902
Mhm.
to designate the area between Arabia and India.
Listen, to designate exactly that area between
Arabia and India.
and India. Continue reading.
During this time, the British and Russian empires.
Skip that. Go to the nations that consist. Remember, Arabia and India. Now read the nations that consist and that make out the Middle East.
So, the nations that make up the Middle East,
Uh-huh.
once again,
Mhm.
they'll mention Bahrain,
Bahrain,
Cyprus,
Cyprus,
Egypt,
what?
Egypt,
Uh-huh.
Iran,
Iran.
Iraq,
Uh-huh.
Israel.
So, dear people, so now an Egyptian, an Egyptian who is in the continent of Africa can say he's Middle Easterner. Because these people say the Middle East consists of Egypt, It consists of Egypt. But if you look at the map, people, what do you see? And if the Middle East is real, why in the world don't we have Middle West, Middle North, and Middle South? Why are all the other continents so clear? You have Africa, you have Europe, you have South America, you have North America. If they had to give it a name, why not call it South Africa and then Northeast Africa? Why do they have to call it Middle East and remove Africa out of the equation? It is a fallacy. So now I've sent you something on, I think WhatsApp. Just go through it from 1 to 2 and I read at what it says. This is not me saying, these are the historians of ancient days. Read what it says.
You can find this on Quora, the forum, and it talks about the Levant. So the Levant or the Middle East.
The Levant, another word for Middle East is the Levant. So the Levant or the Middle East
was the Kushite Empire.
Was what?
Was the Kushite Empire.
Do you guys know who Kush was?
Son of Ham.
So the Middle East or the Levant was the Kushite
Empire.
Was the Ethiopian
Empire. Full of Ethiopia of Asia.
Filled with Ethiopians of Asia.
There were two separate lands.
Now listen. There were two separate lands
called Ethiopia.
They were both called Ethiopia
in Greek myth. The first and better known out of the two was placed in modern Lebanon.
The first and the better known of the two, which was northeast Ethiopia, was placed in modern day Lebanon,
which was also known as ancient Phoenicia.
Which is a lie, but no problem. Go ahead.
So the first and better known out of the two was placed in modern Lebanon, Arabia, Iran, or India. And it was often called Eastern Ethiopia.
You see, it was first called Eastern Ethiopia
to distinguish itself from the lesser known Western Ethiopia.
To distinguish itself from the lesser known. So there is a East and there is a Western Ethiopia. And what was the Western Ethiopia known?
So, to distinguish itself from the lesser known Western Ethiopia, in modern geography, the name Ethiopia is confined to the country known as Abyssinia.
You see, in modern geography,
the name of Ethiopia is confined to the country known as Abyssinia.
Is confined to the country which is known as Abyssinia, and which up until today, if you look at the ancient map, you will see that that is where Ethiopia and other parts of Sudan, etc. are today. But so he's saying there were two Ethiopians, northeast and the modern Ethiopia, which was called Abyssinia. Go ahead.
In ancient times, Ethiopia extended over vast domains in both Africa and Asia. It seems certain, declares Sir E.A. Wallace Budge, that classical historians and geographers called the whole region from India to Egypt. I'll read it again.
Go ahead.
That classical historians and geographers called the whole region from India to Egypt.
From India to Egypt.
Both countries inclusive by the name of Ethiopia.
You see? So before these people came and decided to call it the Middle East, it was known as Ethiopia. And it stretched from India to Egypt. Some say from India to the Arabian countries, but all of that area is nothing but Ethiopia. If you go to Israel today or to Egypt today, and you go to the plates that connect Israel to Egypt, you will see it is written something like, it is saying that Israel is connected, or it stands upon the tectonic plate of Africa. Meaning Israel is within the borders of Africa. But they have changed the name into the Middle East. But the guy is not finished. These are authors. Continue reading.
So they called both countries inclusive by the name of Ethiopia, and in consequence they regarded all the dark-skinned and black peoples who inhabited it as Ethiopians.
And the people are like, dark-skinned people, we know they are in Africa, but they're not in the Middle East. Go to Palestine. The people that are being suppressed there, the real Palestinians, You will see that they are jet black. Go to Darfur. What's the other place? Go to Oman, Saudi Arabia. Go to all of them places. Up until today, you will still see black Arabs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go to India. What are they called? The Dravidians. Go to India, you will see them. Up until today, they are there. But the media keeps them out of the public eye. You see India, you only see the northern Indians, the fair-skinned ones. You see Arabia, you only see the northern Arabians, the fair-skinned ones. But the true Arabs, the Berber, them you don't see. The Tuaregs, them you don't see. The Susis, them you don't see. But these are the original inhabitants of the land. And he will confirm it. Continue reading what he will say.
Mention is made of Eastern and Western Ethiopians, and it is probable that the Easterners were Asiatics and the Westerners were Africans. This is according to the History of Ethiopia.
Go ahead.
By Sir Wallace Budge. In addition, Budge notes that Homer and Herodotus call all the people...
You historians ought to know Homer and Herodotus, one of the first map makers, the world historians at that time and age. Homer was the Greek master philosopher. Go ahead.
So Budge notes that Homer and Herodotus call all the peoples of the Sudan, Egypt, Arabia, Palestine, and Western Asia and India, he calls them Ethiopians.
Wow. No Middle East.
He calls them Ethiopians.
Continue reading.
So now
he will tell you how they look. Continue. He will tell you how they look like.
So it continues and said, the uniform voice of primitive antiquity, which spoke of the Ethiopians as a single race.
So he's saying the uniform voice. So not some. All of them agreed. When you read the history book, they agree. They agree. Homer would agree. Herodotus would agree. Even this crazy guy, Josephus, would agree. And tell you, all of them agreed that these people are...
The uniform voice of primitive antiquity, which spoke of the Ethiopians as a single race dwelling along the shores of the southern ocean from India to the Pillars of Hercules or the Straits of Gibraltar towards Spain. The Ethiopians above Egypt and the Arabians had Arsames for commander, and the Ethiopians of the east, for there were two kinds of them in the army, served with the Indians. They differed nothing in appearance.
Listen, they differed nothing in appearance
from the others.
But
only in speech and hair.
But only where?
In speech and hair.
Only in their language and their
hair.
Why?
For the Ethiopians from the east are straight-haired.
The Ethiopians from the east, you will still see them. You go to Oman, you go to India, they are just as black as us. Some are even blacker, but their hair is soft. Their hair is soft. You also can still see it nowadays in the Somalis, the Eritreans, which are the Nilotic people, the Canaanites. You still see it today. They are as dark as us, but their hair is soft. So read.
For the Ethiopians from the east are straight-haired, but they of Libya have of all men the woolliest hair.
That's us, them Negroes. They of Libya. First, Africa was known as Libya, then it was known as Ethiopia, sometimes it's known as Afra. So the names kept on coming and going. But the truth of the matter is the Middle East is a Western invention. Only so that you would never associate the biblical heritage with Africa. But everything that happened in the Bible, all the places mentioned are in Africa. And Elohim just making a fool out of these people to show you, why do you think these people still left Egypt as part of the Middle East? But if you look at Egypt, you will see that Egypt is in Africa. But they call Egypt part of the Middle East, which is a lie. But how long do you say I have?
3 minutes now. Is there extra time? Let's see if there's extra time.
Please ask if there's some extra time. one because this is impossible.
Yeah, you can continue in the meeting.
So, guys, why am I saying all of this? We will show you. Now, Rike, please give me. It's niet leuk dit. Please give me the book of Genesis. Book of Genesis 13 from 1.
Genesis chapter 13 from verse 1.
Just one verse.
And Abram went up out of Egypt.
Listen. And Abraham. We said, okay. Yeah, dat jammer. And Abraham went up out of Egypt.
He and his wife.
And
all that he had. And Lot with him. And he went into the south.
And he went into the
south.
One sec. One sec. What's status? Okay. Oh, that makes sense. All right. So, and Abraham went south. No. So, and Abraham.
Genesis chapter 13 from verse 1.
Read.
And Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him, and he went into the south.
Listen. You all know the map of Africa.
Hopefully.
I hope that you know the map of Africa. And then you all know where Egypt is located. And if you know where Egypt is located, you know that if you are in Egypt and you go up to the north, there is the sea there. So you will die. So it's logical that Abraham went south. But the question is, the Bible does not say and Abraham went east. That's not what the Bible says. He did not go east, but he went
south.
It's a clear demarcation. He went down. So, dear brothers and sisters, if you are in Egypt and you are going south, just look at your own maps of Africa. Look at Egypt. And if you are going south of Egypt, where do you find yourself then?
Sudan, Ethiopia.
No, but the Bible has nothing to do with black people. It's the Levant. If you go south of Egypt, you will come into the heart of Africa. You will come into what they call Abyssinia. You will come into Sudan. You will come into Namibia. You will come into Congo. These are the places that you will reach. Zimbabwe, you will come there. And the Bible said Abraham went from Egypt and he went to the south of Egypt. So you have to ask yourself, and when he went there, he didn't go there for 2 days. Guess what, people? He was living there. He was living there. And now let me show you something else. Give me the book of Jubilees. The book of Jubilees, chapter 8, from verse 12.
The book of Jubilees. Real quick. So the book of Jubilees, chapter 8, starting from verse 12.
Now listen to what it says.
And there came forth on the writing as Shem's lot.
And there came forth on the writing as Shem's lot.
The middle of the earth.
The middle of the
earth, which he should take as an inheritance for himself.
Meaning, Shem would possess, amongst other things, as an inheritance, the middle of the
earth, which he should take as an inheritance for himself and for his sons.
So pause there. Just go to Google and type, what country is in the middle of the earth?
Let's see. So the which country is at the center of the world? Ghana is geographically closer to the center of the earth than any other country.
It's not the Levant.
Ghana
is
geographically closer to the center of the earth
than
any other country.
Did you place it there by mistake?
Absolutely not.
Did we hijack the internet?
Let me send this also.
Did we find a way to hack the mainframe of the internet?
Nope. Ghana.
Ghana, and if you are going towards Guinea, is at the center of the earth. One, we're not yet done. So now jump back to Jubilees, continue reading.
Jubilees chapter 8.
So Noah rejoiced because Shem, which we know was the father of the Hebrews. And we know that one of the subgroups of the Shemites are known as the Negroes. All of this we know. And guys, we are giving you stuff just because it's unfortunate that I cannot share. But if you would just go on the internet, do it for yourself, please. If you can just go on the internet and you just, which map can you guys take? Just go on the internet and look up this map. I found it. Type in.
Can you not touch it?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Type in 1710 MOLL. 1710 Mall, and then ancient map of Africa. 1710 Mall, MOLL, ancient map of Africa. Then you will get a map. And then on that map, as we were saying, you will see Ethiopia very big in the center, green. We just read, beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, there will I find my people.
That's right.
And then you will see, up in the north, you will see Egypt. And the Bible says Abraham went south from Egypt into the heart of the land, beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. If you then go to the east of that map, you will see a place in yellow called Negro land.
I think we are now sharing the link to the map with the listeners.
Okay, you will see a map called Negro land. Negro land, the land of the Negroes, and the Negroes are a Shemitic people. And then you read the book of Jubilees, it says, and Noah rejoiced, for behold how one of the portions of Shem was in the middle of the earth. You just typed it in yourself and it says Ghana towards Guinea is considered to be the center of the earth. We are not yet done. So we are continuing with the same Jubilees.
So Jubilees chapter 8, continuing from verse 12.
These are ancient maps of the year 17 and 100, when they never thought that people would get a hold of this. Jubilees, continue.
So Jubilees chapter 8, continuing from verse 12.
Read.
And there came forth on the writing a Shem's lot, the middle of the earth, which he should take as an inheritance for himself and for his sons for the generations of eternity.
Listen.
From the middle of the mountain range of Rapha.
Listen. From the middle of the mountain range of Rapha.
From the mouth of the water from the river Tina.
From the mouth of the water of the river
Tina.
Now this river Tina, which nowadays is called the river Tana. Yeah. This river Tina, which map can I give you? So, yeah, I can't share last. So one sec. This river Tina, I think it would be.
In the meanwhile, if there are any questions, you can drop them in the comments section, or even afterwards send us a question.
One sec. I just want to tell you the name of the map and you can check it.
No worries, take your time. Don't see any questions yet.
Okay, River Tina. I found it. So just go on the internet, type in the name of the map. It's called so type in 1644, and then the name of the author is Blow. So Blaeu. 1644 Blow. Blaeu. Blow. 1644 ancient map of Africa. It has more than 1 million locations, but if you will just scroll towards,
towards Kenya, right?
Towards Kenya, there is this place called Tirut, just above Mozambique, which is in yellow. There is this place called Tirut, just up there, and then On the left side of it, there is a place called Tina. It's a place called Tina. That is the river that the Bible is speaking of in the book of Jubilees. It's a place called Tina. And then if you will go all to the right of that same place, you will find the Mount of Rapha. All of these things are on a crazy African map, which we Africans did not even write and make ourselves. But this Mr. Blow, what he did, he was one of the cartologists of the king, and the king would send them out to investigate what the riches of Africa are. So everywhere that he would go, he would write what he saw. And he saw the river Tina, he saw the Mount of Rapha, and all of these things he would write down. And on the same map, what you will also find, dear people, are the rivers and their names. And one of their names of the rivers, when the Bible said beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, I think all of you know what river he means. Because which river flows from Egypt all the way to Sudan and it reaches the borders of Ethiopia? Which river is that? It is the Nile River. But what was the name of the Nile River before it became the Nile River? This map will tell you. It will confirm everything to you. Because the Nile River as we know it, sometimes the Bible calls it the river Hiddekel. But other translations call it the river Tigris. So the Tigris River is the Nile River, which flows from Egypt all the way to Sudan, and it is also the same area, coincidentally, where you will also find on the same map of Mr. Tableau or Mr. Blow, as I gave you guys. It's on that same map where, guess what you will find there? Guess what you will find there? It's the same place where you will also find the name of the region called Sennaar. But that is maybe a topic for another day because you guys cannot see the maps. So all of this, what I'm saying, guys, I just want you to know that I'm not making all these things up.
And I think that also adding to what you mentioned, that being the Tigray River, the region until today is even called
the Tigris.
The Tigris area.
Tigray, yeah.
Confirming what
yeah,
you're saying.
There is a group of people there. They are known as the Tigris. Up until today, they are there. And they are still living.
And being oppressed.
All these areas are found in Africa. But we are not done. Continue reading the same book of Jubilees.
Chapter 8, continuing from verse 12. So it's talk about the region of Shem, from the middle of the mountain range of Rapha, from the mouth of the water from the river Tina.
The river Tina,
And his portion goes towards the west through the midst of the river.
So it is bringing you from the east to the west. So you have Rapha all the way to the extreme east. And then you go a bit to the west, you have the river Tina. And now it's bringing you further up the west.
And it extends till it reaches the water of the abysses, out of which the river goes forth and pours its water into the sea Me'at. And this river flows into the Great Sea, and all that is towards the north.
The Great Sea is nothing else but the Atlantic Ocean.
And all that is towards the north is of Japheth.
And all that is towards the north, the northern countries of the world is of Japheth. Go ahead.
And all that is towards the south belongs to Shem.
All that is towards the south belongs to Shem.
And it extends till it reaches Karaso.
And it extends till it reaches Karaso.
This is the bosom of the tongue which looks towards the south.
This is the bosom of the tongue which looks towards the south.
And his portion extends along the great sea.
And
it extends in a straight line till it reaches the west of the tongue which looks towards the south. For this sea is named the tongue of the Egyptian sea.
Now we all know the Egyptian sea. Tigris River, Hiddekel, or the Nile. That is the tongue of the Egyptian sea, which has its mouth into the White Nile and the Blue Nile. One goes into Sudan, the other reaches Egypt and goes towards Ethiopia. Go ahead.
And it turns from here towards the south, towards the mouth of the Great Sea, on the shore of its waters, and it extends to the west to Afra.
And it extends to the west to where?
To Afra.
What do you guys think Afra is? What do you guys think Afra is? People. What do you guys think Afra is? Afra is nothing else but Afri. It's Africa. So it is. If you read these
Jubilee
passages very carefully, you will see how most of the places in the Bible, if not 90% of them, are found in Africa, specifically sub-Saharan Africa, stretching all the way from Egypt all the way to the western hemisphere of Africa, which ends in which ends towards Ghana, all the way there. All of that area. In the ancient maps of the names I gave you, it is called Negro land, which happens to be the most fertile piece of land in the whole of the world. It also happens to be the richest piece of land when it comes to all of the gold and stuff in the world. In the same map I gave you, where Abyssinia is, you will find there written Havila.
Yeah.
The same Bible speaks of Havila. And what does it say about Havila?
It compasses the land of
It not only that, but Havila is the place where gold. Where do you find gold? Dear people. When the Bible said, and Elohim said, I will bring you to a country filled with milk and honey, you think he was speaking about this Israel that you know in the Middle East. It is nothing but a desert over there. How can that small place be the land of Israel? When the Bible in the book of Joshua, it tells you how the land of Israel, how it reaches from Egypt all the way to the borders of India. That is the land of Yah. And what milk and honey does Israel have? Does Israel have gold? No. Do they have oil? No. They don't even have rain. They don't even have water to drink. The Dead Sea is salt. They have to produce their waters by reason of expensive dams. They don't even have drinks. But come to Africa. Come to Africa. You will find the 4 rivers of Eden there. Come to Africa. You have the Nile. You have the Zambezi. You have the what's it called? The Senegal River. What's the other thing? What's the other one called? You have the Africa has more rivers than every other country in the world. We have more natural resources than any other nation in the world. So can you imagine when Elohim says you will get a land filled with milk and honey? Do you now see it in front of you? It's Africa. But you now also understand the dilemma why he said you are poor yet you are rich. Because we are living in the promised land. Abraham knew that. He went from Egypt to south and he chilled there. Because all that area was of Elohim. And if you guys really think we are lying, it's maybe because of time, but just go to your Google Maps. Type Mamre, South Africa, you will find it. There is a Mamre in South Africa. Type Hebron or Hebron in South Africa, you will find it. Type Yaoundé, which is Judah, in Africa, you will find it. Type Cape Hope, Ark of Noah, in South Africa, you will find it. Shinar, you will find it in Africa. The river Tigris in Africa. The mountain of the moons in Africa. Padan Haran, the desert of Set in Africa. So either tell me, and this was the the maps were created around the 1700. You tell me. Because around the 1700s, we were not yet fully colonized to the point where we were really Christians. When the Catholics came, did they give all these places the names? Or did they already find it there? We claim and we say, we are the people of Yah. Look at all the African countries. How many African countries have the name of Yah? Nigeria, Zambia. Do you know how Ethiopia? Do you know how many African countries have the name of Yah? We have all the rivers, Hebron, all of the places that you find in the Bible. You can find their roots in Africa. You always think Egypt. So if it is true what the people are saying, that Egypt is part of the Middle East, fine. But how would you declare Sudan and the great pyramids that are found in Sudan? Just to show you that Sudan, which was also the kingdom of Aksum, all of them were the same people. And this is what the West has done, and it is unforgivable. Everything you know in the Bible, every time you read it, you are so disconnected, not knowing that, hey, they are speaking of you. They are speaking of you. And who is you? Black man. But because we have to stop, I will finish with a final appetizer, and then we will continue with it, either one of the Monday class studies, or maybe brother Justice will just kill it next week. But just to conclude, 2 Kings chapter 8. Arike. 2 Kings chapter 8 verse 20.
2 Kings chapter 8 starting from verse 20.
Read.
In his days,
Edom
revolted from under the hand of Judah.
Edom revolted from under the hand of
Judah.
Now in modern day, where Judah is, you will find it still in Africa. It is called Yaoundé. Yaoundé is the border of a specific country. So he's saying in those days, Edom
revolted
from
under the hand of Judah.
Not from under the hand of the whole of Israel, from under the hand of
Judah.
Read.
And made a king over themselves.
So
Jordan went over to Zaire.
What?
So Jordan went over to Zaire.
Where is Zaire?
At the Congo.
Where is Zaire?
At the Congo.
People, if you think we are mad, so be it. But Africa has all the locations of all the names that you read of in the Bible. Up until today, you will find all of them. But just like the Bible says, can anything good come? That's what you look at. When you see Africans, you think we are so stupid. You think we are so foolish. They call us animals, ridiculous people. All they do is dance, they shout, they only want to drink and be with women. They don't want to do anything serious. You are right. But Elohim has used the things that the world despises. You can't imagine the riches that is found in Africa. It's as if Elohim himself is playing a joke with us. For oh, you guys wanted to forget me. Now look how I will take a foolish nation. The Europeans, foolish nations, Neanderthals, cave dwellers. Someone who can take a dog and lick a dog's face. But now they have become our rulers. They come around, they change the names. We are in a continent where the desert of Seth, what's it called? Mount Zion. What's the other mountain called? The mountain of the other mountain. You have Mount Sinai. All of these things found in Africa. But look at how impoverished we are. So it ought to tell you that there is a spirit at hand in work, and he is really against us because we ourselves are asleep. So dear people, the last kingdom, they have taken over the world. They have changed all the names of the Bible. They have not only hijacked the identity of the people, they also took their names. You can now sit at home and you are reading, hey, Jesus. How can Jesus be the name? How can Jesus be the name of the Messiah? And I said there, and then Paul. Who's Paul? And Peter. Who is Peter? Someone, Timothy. Have you met a black person called Timothy? People. Abraham. People. So we still have to revisit so many things. Even some of the names that we now claim to know is incorrect. Is incorrect. They changed the names. They try to hide the locations. This is the fourth kingdom. So when we talk about the changing of seasons and time, don't just think about the holidays anymore. We have moved beyond that. That is old news. We keep on adding because the lies are too much. But Elohim be glorified, for in his own time he will make all things beautiful. But it is up to us to call unto him in sincerity and truth, so that when he comes, he will be able to take us, redeem us, so that we may forever be with him. Because whether you like it or not, the ship of Edom is sinking.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, Elohim will use Edom against Edom. He will make them go crazy to the point where Edom will legislate laws for adults to sleep with babies, and it will be fine. And why is he doing that? He's hastening his judgment before he can come and judge this Edom, and because he doesn't want to spare any Edomite. So he will make sure that the level of sin in Edom, in Europe, will be so high that even animals will not feel safe. A dog will run for his life because Edom will try to rape the dog.
Ew.
So the raising of prices, the legislation of all these genders, children are allowed to go under the knife and be operated. This is nothing but the beginning of folly. We will see hell in this continent. And it is Elohim's plan. So brace yourself, prepare yourself, know that when things really become difficult, go towards the wilderness. Go towards Africa. Don't despise us, and especially we amongst ourselves. Let us not despise ourselves, because they know who we are, and we ought also to become aware of who we are. So we leave you with these things, and may Yah keep you all standing. Shalom.
Thank you very much, Minister. This was a very insightful topic. A lot of information, a lot of maps to study at home. Please, please, please study to show yourself approved. Don't take our word for it, but go home, research the articles, research so many information, so many studies, researches that have been done on this topic, and really let the information sink. Thank you very much once again, Minister. We'd also like to know what you guys thought of this message at home. No comments, no questions. Please know that you can contact us wherever you like. So feel free to either share this on Facebook or Instagram or on YouTube. We have older messages as well, also on our SoundCloud, and you can also find out still on our YouTube. Keep on sharing, keep on spreading the message because time is ticking. Next week, we'll dive into a brand new topic, so keep an eye on our social media to know what that topic will be. This was the Hour of Restoration, coming to you live from Amsterdam every Sabbath from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Thank you very much.
Come join me as we worship you. Our hearts are open, fill us with you. Come join me as we worship you. Our hearts are open, fill us with you. Come join me as we worship you.